All right, now let's look at inverse functions. So for a function to have an inverse, it must be a one-to-one function. So remember that was no x's repeat and no y's repeat. The other thing with inverse functions is if you have the domain of the original function, that turns out to be the range of the inverse, and the range of the original function becomes the domain of the inverse. Lastly, the inverse notation is this f to the -1 of x. What I want you to know about that is that -1 is just notation. You're not raising anything to the -1 power or anything like that. That just says, hey, this is f inverse of x, okay? As this says right here. The other really important point with this, because domain is x values and range is y values, if I have the domain of x in the original, that x value becomes the y value for the inverse. And vice versa. If I have a y value in the original, it becomes the x value in the inverse. So if I have a point xy, this can flip over in the inverse to make it yx. So to find the inverse of any point, you just flip it. Notice I didn't change any signs. I just switched the order. Okay, so let's look at these two examples. First, we're deciding if it's a one-to-one function, and if it is, then we're going to find the inverse. Remember, no repeat x's and no repeat y's. So looking at set A, we have the ordered pairs 4, 2, 1, 7, -5, -4, and 5, -5. Let's first look at our x's. 4, 1, -5, 5. None of those repeat. And then looking at our y's, we have 2, 7, -4, -5. None of those repeat. So this is a one-to-one function. Now let's find a inverse. So we're going to still write this as a set in set notation, and we're taking each ordered pair and just switching sides. So this will become 2, 4. 1, 7 becomes 7, 1. -5, -4 becomes -4, -5. And 5, -5 becomes -5, 5. Close off that set. Okay, so that's for A. Let's look at set B. We have 5, -1, -1, 3, -2, -4, and 1, -5. Let's check our x's. 5, -1, -2, 1. None of those are repeats, so we're good. Let's check our y's. -1, 3, -4, -5. None of those are repeats, so we're good. So this is indeed a one-to-one function. So that would be yes. And let's find B inverse, okay? So the inverse of B would be -1, 5, 3, -1, -4, -2, and -5, 1. We'll close that off with the curly brace, okay? So again, the biggest thing I want you to take away from this concept is if you have a point in the original function, the inverse point switches places. X, Y becomes YX.